Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. Here with the Prestige Cup for season, I believe this is 108. We're using the Camaro Z28. This is a very old car. In fact, this car was around before milestone cars were introduced as part of this game. Even though it's a 5-star car, it is very much an outdated car at this point. The Z28, even fully max, barely reaches like a 12.1. So here with this Prestige Cup, the question will be, just how tough is it going to be, because it's an older car, so it's not very fast, and if the game maker makes the challenges a little tough, it's going to be really rough to get through this. As you can see, at stage 5 only, I am running this and I'm barely hitting a 14.0. In fact, that was a 14.1 run. The reality is that you can tune it to about a 13,990 something if you tune it just right at stage 5 only, and that's with full fusion. So this is a pretty slow car with very low Evo. And the low Evo is a big problem because this car is not really competitive against the newer tier 4 cars. Things like the Evora and everything would simply trash this car in every way, whether it's top speed, whether it's sprint, whether it's live racing. The saving grace, of course, is this car can be down tuned, but at that point you're kind of playing in the kiddie sandbox, doing 14, 13, high 13 runs, mostly with very new players, and it's not really a fair way to compete in live. So this car needs a buff. Okay, that's my conclusion. This car needs a buff. In real life, it is quite an impressive car for its time, running the 505 horsepower 7.0 liter hand-built LS7 motor, which incidentally, I have a car that has the same motor, which is part of the reason why I actually know the specs on that. But the Z28 is a pretty cool car for its day. Obviously, the new Z01, 1LE is even cooler, but for what it is, that's a pretty cool car. So I'm kind of disappointed Natural Motion never made this car any better. They just left it the way it was. And the Viper ACR is another one I would point out. It's in dire need of a buff as well. These 5-star cars being that pathetic is just not right at this point in the game. Okay, all right, so a lot of rambling here aside. What I'm doing is I'm running this Prestige Cup to kind of give you the rundown on all the challenges, but at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump back periodically and make sure that we have each of the stage 6 installed, because this car is so old. I had it fully maxed, and as you can see, I actually deleted this car during Tempest, because back in those days, I should say, this was actually still a pretty decent car for tier 4, so it was my go-to choice since I can down tune it. I can use it both in live and for maps. So at the time I deleted it, but of course since then it's basically collected dust. All right, speed trap number 1 is 124 miles per hour. Very easy to do with this car. As you can see, 155 at stage 5 only. Shouldn't be a problem to get through that speed trap. I think, like any PC Cup, we're not going to really hit any difficult challenges until way later. Probably race 24 to 26 and up is where, if I'm going to get stuck, I'm going to be stuck there. All right, so let's do 1 or 2 more runs here, and then let's start taking a look at the stage 6 effects. Now, talking about launching and shifting. To launch the car well, you kind of have to launch it like kind of mid to late in the 1, and then really it just kind of slightly short shift second, nitrous, short shift into second, and then nitrous, and deep good to perfect from there. I'm not very good with this car nowadays. I haven't been driving it for so long now that I'm actually struggling to get even dyno. But let's go back and let's start taking a look at the stage 6 effects of this car. So I'm back in the garage. And I'll add that later. Let's go ahead and get the stage 6 in there first. So the first thing is we're going to start an engine, as we are wont to do for the stage 6 effects. I'm not going to get into all the numbers as much because you actually see the effects when I run the car. I'm going to try to run each stage 6 2 or 3 runs. Now, the final drive on this car tend to be near the 3.7 range, like 3.74, 3.73. It's right around there for a lot of the tuning, and the tire usually sticks around 25, 26. It's just the way this car works, and it looks like a little bit more aggressive and shorter nitrous might be helpful here, but 465 gives us a 1373. That's not a bad drop for a car, for a T4 car of this nature with just the engine stage 6. Generally, we don't expect a whole lot of performance out of engine, but that is a nice drop from basically 14.0 or 1399 to about a 13.7. So that's pretty good. Now let's run the car and see what it actually hits. That's the advantage of doing stage 6 effects this way through a PC Cup, is because I can actually show you the runs, and you get to see what's going on with difficulty as far as the Cup is concerned. At this point in the Cup, of course, you do not need to worry about hitting the times or beating the opponents. They're going to be much, much slower than even a stage 5 only car that's missing fusions. So let's see, 13869 is pretty bad. I mean, it's a 13.7 theoretical dyno, and my driving there is pretty bad, but let's get some gas in here and let's see what we can do about hitting a little better time. Again, launching it right, getting that first shift in nitrous right is pretty important to get a good time with this car. But it's been a long time since I've really done much with it. Okay, with this one, I hit nitrous first, but it's probably not even necessary. You could have hit nitrous second and accomplished the same thing, but as you can see, at this point, speed trap about 3 seconds faster than what the computer ran. Get some tokens for later, and then we move on to the next race. After this one, I'm going to jump back and put in another stage 6. So, short shift that. Might have short shifted a little too much there, so this is probably not going to be near a 13.7 either. Let's see what it comes up with. I think this one was a better, it's a little better run than last time, but still a little off from the dyno itself. So I'm not hitting dyno with this car. That's part of the issue here. All right, back to garage, jumping back in. Now let's take a look at the next stage 6, which is turbo. Not a whole lot of changes there, and a little bit of evo jump, so it's not going to be completely useless. But, well, it's only 30, 40 points. You're not going to get a major change in performance just from adding that stage 6. Still, it went down to 13.834. That's not bad. Think about, engine was only 13.78. This is 13.83, which is pretty close. So, it's not as strong as engine, but it's not terrible either. Let's go ahead and go back out to the Prestige Cup. Let's run it, see what it does for us as far as time is concerned. All right, here we go, back to the Cup. All right, here we go. Okay, turbo again, 13.820s as far as the dyno's concerned. I'm wondering if I can even come close to that. Let's see what the actual run comes out to. Not that great. Again, running quite a bit slower than where the dyno is, and that's unfortunately been the theme of this with me for this car. I would suggest you to look up some shift patterns online. I'm sure some of the videos out there will have better shift pattern. 131 speed trap, again, you can hit 155 even without stage 6s as long as you have the fusions. So this should not be that difficult a challenge here. A little over 156, I think, or maybe even higher than that. Big number says 157, but little number says 156.7. Keep in mind that for speed trap purposes, it's the little number that counts, not the big one. So if you're very close, you need to read that small number to make sure that number actually hits the target number itself. Okay, that was a better launch, but I kind of a little late on that first shift there. But let's see what it runs though. That doesn't look like it's much different than the last one. I think this is still going to be a pretty high 13.8. And again, some stage 6s make it easier to come closer to dyno, and some even let you beat dyno, but in this case, just the turbo, I'm struggling a little bit here to get a good time. So let's go ahead and go back. Let's move on to the next stage 6 here. Right. So next in line, after turbo, we have our favorite here, good old intake. And that looks like it didn't change much at all on anything, which isn't a good sign. That usually means it's not going to do much, if any, change to the car. So it looks like I can squeeze still a point or two out of it, but 13909. So it's far worse than turbo or engine. This is likely to come in probably near the bottom here. So we'll see later if some of the other ones will also be bad, or they're mostly going to be much better. All right, so running now with just intake. 13.9 is the dyno. Let's see what we can actually run. Again, getting that launch, that's an early launch, so that's not going to be good. Getting that launch right on perfect requires you to kind of wait a little bit into the one for you to hit that spot. But for purpose of these earlier races, it's really not that big a deal. I can still just easily beat them, which is always a good thing. 14010, yep. Not even close to what dyno says. So again, not running it that great, but at least it's getting through without too much headaches right now. Okay, Nitrous second this time. Let's see what the speed trap ended up being with just intake. I think I did better with stage 5 only. So, but it's enough to get through, but certainly I think I even beat that a little bit without any stage 6s. All right, one more run with this, and then let's jump back again and go ahead and put in the next stage 6. So I'm getting about 2-3 runs out of each stage 6. That'll get us through a good 20 races by the end of this seven stage 6s. So, at that point, it's supposed to get tougher. Then we'll take a look at combinations and see what combinations may be needed to get this car through. Or is it going to stay easy enough for me to get through without stage 6s? I kind of doubt that. With a car that's this old and been around this long, I would think natural motion would not make it too easy. And come to think of it, I think when this car was a Prestige Cup car twice before, the cups were not that easy either. I don't know if they would reprogram a whole new cup, or natural motion just gonna, find the old one's data and copy and paste, and therefore we have our new PC Cup. But PC Cup has evolved over time, so certainly this wouldn't be the original PC Cup from years ago. It's still going to be under the current patterns, but this car's been PC car more than once too. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is big. Nitrous is, wow, look at that. Nitrous is definitely big. Right now, Nitrous is leading the pack by a significant margin. 13.4 from basically 14. It's a pretty decent jump for one stage 6. So let's see how far that will get us. So keep in mind that with one Nitrous, you can get down to the 13.4, or maybe with my shifting like a 13.5, that's a pretty substantial drop. So I'm wondering if this will get me through to the end, or at least close to the end here. Okay. Kind of messed up that shift again. Okay. It's struggling slowly but surely in fifth to get to that 185 right there. And what did it run? Oh, look at that. Ran a little under dyno. So not only is Nitrous the fastest of the stage sixes, it can also help push your car under dyno slightly. So Nitrous is going to be a key stage six. There's no doubt about it. And as we all know, Nitrous tend to always be pretty useful for speed traps. So I'm expecting here the speed trap's going to be impressive, even though the challenge is 139, which it can beat anyway. Well, I don't know. Maybe I didn't hit the Nitrous as well as I could have. 162 is decent for the one stage six. It's certainly about 7 mile per hour more than what it was without Nitrous, but I was kind of hoping for a little more than that. All right, let's go. Keep going a little more with Nitrous. See what it can do. Here we go. I wonder if I can get under dyno again. That would be nice. Come on, Nitrous. It doesn't look like it. This run wasn't as good as the last one, I think. Yeah, a little bit slower. All right, but I'm not complaining. This Nitrous is a key stage six so far. It looks like, because you're talking about dropping almost 6/10 in actual time. Oh, click that. Okay. All right, let's go back and now let's go to body. Body for many cars is one of the bigger stage sixes. Although for this one so far, we know Nitrous is huge. I can't expect body also to be huge because then you have very little to work with further down. But that's not to say body won't be decent. It should still be a decent stage six. Let's see how good it is though. 460s is better than some of the other ones. Yep, 13650. So it's not terrible at all. Just remember, we start off with the engine at 137s. This is 13.6. Nitrous is 13.4 something. So right now you have Nitrous body engine leading the pack, and then turbo and intake's pretty bad. Both are 13.8 and 13.9. We still have two more, right? Tire and trans. If tire and trans both comes in slower than 13.6 or 13.7s, then the final order is pretty clear. But there's always hope that either tire or trans could do better than turbo and intake at least, which will kind of spread out our overall performance changes pretty well. Okay, let's see what that did as far as the run's concerned. Same old, same old. Not really getting close to dyno like I would prefer. Again, shift pattern, I'll worry about it later. This is not preventing me from getting through this cup. It's just that it'll be nicer if I can shift better. All right, sprint. Let's see if this sprint will beat the stage 5 only sprint. It does, by a little bit. For that initial sprint, I used Nitrous right from get-go. Maybe I should try that again, but it doesn't really matter. You're so much faster with full fusions and one stage 6 that it's not really a relevant challenge. However, if you're struggling because you're missing a lot of fusions, then that little technique difference may be a lot more important. Okay, tire, that doesn't look like much of a change, and that's low too. So tire might be pretty bad. Let's see what it does. Okay, so all the extra grip usually means final drive can be tweaked a little more aggressively, or I lower the grip. 13902. Boy, that is a little bit better. Ooh, look at that. Hold on, we got some more here that I might be able to squeeze out. 13882. Okay, so it's closer to turbo than it is closer to um, intake, but I'm pretty sure it falls in the middle. I'll have to take a look at this. So tire's pretty bad. Right now, tire essentially would be looking at second best. No, I shouldn't say that. Second worst stage 6 from the bottom. So depending on where trans falls, we'll have our final order. But let's go ahead and run it, just like the others. Now, one thing about all these cups, if you notice, natural motion has a certain pattern nowadays, and this is a very, I would say, carefully planned and intentional way of doing this, which is every single event you run, whether it's PC Cup, whether it's Made in America or America Road Trip Cups, every single cup starts off very easy. The idea there, obviously, is to let you, one, participate to some degree, even with the car that, oh man, I just crashed. All right, hold on. All right, we're back. I think I have to redo that race too. When it crashed, it literally set me back a whole race and my profile synced. Not an uncommon bug with this game, but it's pretty annoying. Sometimes you can, in the more severe cases of that bug, you can go for like 5-6 races, crash, and then profile sync, and next thing you know, you're back like 6 races from before where you just wasted all that time. So it's definitely a bummer when that happens. All right. So still big gap here, still doing pretty good, leading the pack. I mean, leading the opponent by quite a bit here. So 30,000. That's a good thing. Let's move on to the next piece. So now we're at race 21, heading into what I would consider slowly but surely the tougher races. Now, so going back to before we crashed, what I was saying, natural motion is kind of giving you a easy lead-in into events to kind of get you hooked, right? You're in the event, you've gone so far. Where the hurdles come, they always come near the end, because if they put it too early, let's say 15 races in, it's impossible to beat. More likely than not, a lot of players will give up. And it's like, all right, whatever. It's halfway, I'm done. However, when they drag you in to race 78 out of 80, and then they do that to you, the mentality is going to be a lot different. The response usually is, oh man, forget this. I'm gonna finish this, even if I have to spend a few bucks. And that's what they're counting on. So that's like a design strategy. It's psychology at work. And you know, I see that when I play the events. I just don't know if everybody kind of perceives that the way I do. But again, the makers are here to make money, and you know, tempting you into things is how they can get you to spend. On the other hand, right, you can play the game for free if you're willing to skip some events and just kind of grind out the seasons each time. Now that was a 13666, so transmission is not bad. However, I believe transmission beats engine certainly, but I believe that body still beats transmission. So right now you're looking at nitrous, body, transmission, and then engine, and I'm not sure, I think it's turbo, tire, and intake. That's kind of the order now. But that looks like what the order's going to be for the stage 6 effects. Nitrous by far ahead, but then body and trans are both pretty decent. Okay, so let's go run this and see what this does. And basically, now we've gone through the entire stage 6 in the list, and we can start playing with the combos to see what is actually needed to get all the way to the end. The first question, of course, is I'm at race 21, 22 here. What do I need to get to race 28? Because that's supposed to give you the stage 6. And for some of you, that'll be your first stage 6 for this car. Although if you played any number of times, you know, any number of amount in this game already, time-wise, chances are one of the cups from before might have given you at least one stage 6 by now. But it's always good to know if you can get to the stage 6 without a stage 6, or am I going to get stuck and then I need stage 6s to get my stage 6. That really sucks. But oftentimes the slightly tougher cups, that's the case. The easier cups, you would get to the stage 6 no problem. All right, here we go. 1 second here. Let's go. Lay down the first shift, but I mean, I should be okay for beating this particular car. That's that new GTR we'll be getting. You know, like we don't have enough GTRs in the game. Just like we don't have enough Camaros in the game. Or Dodge Vipers for that matter. But lots of, oh, that looks like the dyno I had earlier, 13666. So in any case, some brands just, you know, the game makers must love them because they're just a lot of cars from, or a lot of specific variety of that car. I mean, just Camaros, we have so many different Camaros. It's crazy. I was saying that at the last video too, I think. But, you know, here's a Camaro. Then you have ACS Z28. Then you have the ZL1. You have the ZL11LE. You have the, what was the other one? You have the SS. Then you have the muscle car Camaros, the Quinton brothers, the, what's it, the Under Pressure. So lots and lots of Camaros in this game. And, you know, I guess somebody at Natural Motion must love Camaros. I always like muscle cars from the older versions, and I also kind of like the new Camaro, so I'm not complaining. Oh yeah, and we have the Label Motorsports Camaro as well, I think, from Tempest. So there's another Camaro. So I think now we're looking at what, like 10 Camaros at least. All right, get gas later. Let's go ahead and take a look at where we're at here. Let's go back to stage 5 only. Right? Watch that Evo drop. Let's go back to stage 5 only. Let's see if I can get to race 28 without any stage 6s. And if I cannot, let's see how badly I would be challenged. So let's go ahead and retune this. 380 something. 13996 looks like it's good enough. 994, I'll take that. Right, that's a little better tune than I started with when I started the Cup, which I think I was dynoing 14.01 or 02 or something like that. Must have missed a click here or there. Oh, jeez, it's race 25. It's already hard. That's not boding well. Let's see where we're at here. So that's race 25. I'm still 3 races away from the stage 6 race of 28, and it's already on hard. That's not a good sign. All right, let's see if I can get a good run out of this. So if it's going to be like this, if it's going to be difficult, and don't forget, my car's full fusion, so there's that too. If you're missing a bunch of epic fusions from Chevrolet, you're going to be also missing a bunch of performance. So this may in fact be extreme for you rather than hard. So you may be stuck as early as race 25 having to try to find upgrades. And at that point, you can either wait for the upgrade from the Crew Cup on Friday, or you basically have to think about pulling crates. And this is where bronze key, just like silver keys, is now a very valuable commodity in this game. You know, in the beginning of the game, before the crates came along, bronze keys were kind of like, just pull them when you can and hope you get a right fusion. Now with these make-specific crates, bronze keys are key. Oh, okay. Race 27 Extreme. Oh, Jesus. So, made it through race 26, but by race 27, it's Extreme. Let's see how extreme it is, because Extreme can be a little extreme or crazy extreme. So the question is, how extreme is this? How much am I going to get beat by will tell me exactly what stage 6s I'm going to need to get through this. All right, let's take a look here. So far looking good. And as soon as I hit 5th gear and slow down, I bet you that's when the demon's going to catch me. And here it comes. And it blew my doors off. Oh my God, that's a big gap. That is a big gap. That is not just a little extreme. That is plenty extreme. All right, 13825 already eliminates tire and intake as 6 as the sole options. So even if you have one of the stage 6s, if you only have intake or tire, you're still not going to make it. You're going to need at least turbo or better, right? Engine definitely would be good. Let's try turbo, because I know intake won't do it. So let's try turbo and see if turbo will get us through. If not, then you're really talking about engine and better, which is like engine, body, trans, and nitrous at that point. 830, oh, it's still not enough. It's not even enough on the dyno. If it's not going to be enough on the dyno, there's no way I'm going to make this, because if you recall, I run a lot slower than dyno, not faster. So this is not going to work. So turbo, intake, and tire may not get me through this. You know, should I run it? Let's run it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe did I remember it wrong? Was it a high 13.8? Okay, well, hey, now it's on hard, so I have a chance. Let's see if turbo can get through. The other thing to keep in mind is that with the current cups, if you switch out back to garage and come back in, you will get a different car. Remember, I had the Demon, now I have the Alpha, and the Alpha might be a lot slower than the Demon, so it won't be a difficult run. So here I'm not doing that great on my run here, and yet the Alpha's way back there. Let's see what it run. That looks like it ran like a 14-second run almost. 13.969, right. So that's the other option. If you can't beat it with the one car, come in and out a few times and see if you can find another car that runs slower. This goes all the way to the end. This is true even of race 30. But, you know, again, the question is, are you going to be able to find the right car? And can you progress up to that point without further stage 6s? So yet again, we're looking at extreme. So race 27 was extreme, but then the slower car only ran a 13.9. But then I'm stuck here with another extreme. Let's see how extreme this run is. This just could be bad luck. I mean, I could just be polling the opponents that happen to be the fastest. If I go back to garage and come back, I may get somebody slower. Ooh, that's a big gap again. That's not good. That's like a 13.6 run. 13.543? Oh my God. That's definitely 2 stage 6 right there, unless you have nitrous. I mean, outside of nitrous, nothing comes close to that. Everything else is 13.6 at best, I think. So, or was it body at 13.5? I can't remember for sure. But nitrous would really be the one to use now. Let's see if no, it didn't change. No, I was hoping maybe it'll change to hard because, you know, the opponent changed to a slower guy, but apparently that's not going to happen now. Okay, so I can use multiple stage 6s, right? Let's say turbo and intake, but I can tell you turbo intake tire probably still won't hit 13.5. Let's take a look at what these two will give you, but I doubt it's that great. Let's tweak it too, make sure it's the maximum Evo. Ooh, it's not really moving much. Where's that 4? I know there was a 4 I saw earlier. Whatever. 13.741 is too far off anyway, so those two won't cut it. Okay, you're not going to be able to get it with the weaker stage 6s here. Either it's going to have to be a strong stage 6 and a secondary, or nitrous, or maybe potentially 3 of the weaker ones combined may not even make it. I mean, it's that bad. All right, so nitrous I know will make it, but then even with nitrous, unless that next opponent's a little bit slower, I could still run like a 13.6 or 13 high fives and, you know, 5.6 or 5.8 and still lose. So that's not a good sign. Although dyno wise, it's a 13.435. So if I can even get it into 13.4s, I'm definitely going to be able to beat that. It should go back to being hard rather than extreme now. Yep, here we go. So that means whoever's running me should be running somewhere between what the Tuatera run and what I'm going to get. Well, whoever I get this time should be hopefully a little bit slower. Oh boy, that's another pretty fast tier 5. Let's see what happens. All right, so I'm keeping my lead right now, but that car does have a little bit of top end, so it's probably going to start coming at me. But yet again, I'm keeping a decent gap here. But then again, I am supposed to be able to run 13.4s. Let's see. And extreme again. Oh my god. And I get a nitrous. Yes, that was the top S6. If I didn't have it, I would need it. But I needed it to beat this. So you see the conundrum here. If you didn't have nitrous, you can't beat it with one stage 6. I would have had 2 or 3 already to beat it. And then I get nitrous, which is great. That guarantees my race 30. But here I needed nitrous to get here. You know, this is rather frustrating, especially if you don't have the car with all the stage 6s already, or you don't have a few stage 6s already. You're just going to be stuck. All right, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sneak it in here with the weak stage 6 and strong stage 6 combo, right? This should bump me down just enough, okay, to get, hopefully, through the next race and maybe even race 30. So I'm trying nitrous / X stage 6 combo here to try to get through. And it's saying at least for race 29, just bumping an intake in there is enough to, in combo with nitrous, to get this done. Now 13.2 is pretty fast. I'm surprised, in fact, that it actually is this difficult, to be honest. But makes sense in the case of this car because it's so old. I mean, I think Natural Motion's thinking, majority of the players should have parts for this, but I think what they forget is this game actually has a pretty high turnover rate nowadays, and many of the crews, in fact, have much more newer players who played less than a year or 2 years than older players like myself, who's been playing 3-4 plus years. All right, and you're telling me it's going to be extreme. I have 13.2, and it's still extreme. Seriously. Now this is getting a little kind of ridiculous. It shouldn't be this hard, especially when you have other events on the board that's sucking up resources. All right, let's see just how badly I'm going to get beat. It's looking like he's coming. There it goes. It's going. It's going. And it got me by about a tenth. No, maybe not a tenth. A little bit less than a tenth. But that was a full car length visually. So that means nitrous plus a decent stage 6 will cut it, or maybe 3 decent stage 6s may cut it, or 4 mixed good bad stage 6s might be needed. Let's see. So now we're looking at, let's throw body in. That's a decent one. And let's throw, let's see here. Let's put trans in. That's a decent one. So those 2 decent ones with 2 much weaker ones should be enough to get this done. Let's take a look. If dyno says it's like a 13.1 or something, I'm good. Oh, 13.0. Yeah, that's definitely good. So this definitely will cut it for getting the job done, because that's a 13.0. But that's 4 stage 6s, 2 good ones, 2 bad ones, right? So we're pushing it pretty hard here with these to get to that number. So that's, again, you know, you may have it, you may not have it, but bottom line is you're going to need a few stage 6s to make this. Okay, 13.5. It got worse. I don't know what I just did. All right. Okay, should have saved that. That's what I should have done. All right, so I'm going to mess with this a little more. This is what happens when you don't keep an eye on exactly what you're doing and you start moving the bar around too much. You lose it, and then it's like, what's going on? All right. Might be something here. New. All right. Might be nitrous duration. Oh, it's getting there. It's close enough. It's close enough. Let's not waste too much time here. I could spend another 10 minutes tweaking it, trying to find that right number. All right. So 4 stage 6s will get us through, and that's without nitrous, or nitrous plus body, I'm pretty sure would cut it. Nitrous plus trans, I'm pretty sure will cut it. But nitrous plus the others, like engine and slower, you're probably going to need 3. All right, let's see here. Try to get this done. So it's looking like this is it. All right. So as you can see, this is not that easy a PC Cup. So it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle for some of you. Um, Again, you get one from the crew cup, you get one from the cup itself. You better hope it's not a duplicate. But then you need one or two just to get there anyway. So if you don't have any, you're going to end up pulling some crates just to get to the stage 6, which isn't fun, but that's what it comes down to. So overall, this one is a little bit tougher than the usual, or I should say the last few seasons PC Cup. The car, again, is very old. It has a cool motor in it, but it doesn't really do much in game nowadays. All right, let me know what you think. If you have any questions about this car with the stage 6 effects, give me a holler in the comments. If you like the video, please leave a like, and if you like my channel, please subscribe so you can get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my video. I'll catch you next time.